Alright, this fifth tutorial is going to cover putting the rest of these brackets onto our assembly. So I need to go back and open up my wheel mount assembly. Some of the pieces are already on there. So this just wants to update everything. So go ahead and say that's okay. Okay. And I've made a couple versions of some of these things, so that's why it's changing it. So now I need to go ahead and remount this. I'm going to go ahead and delete this piece, and I'm going to bring in just a new one. Since I've created multiple versions of this for all the tutorials, it doesn't get happy when I have the same part in there twice. So I'm going to come here to assemble. I'm going to place a part. I am going to grab the steering plate, and I've got two of them. That's why it's not happy. That's a good orientation for it. So I'd left click to place it, right click to get out of here. I need to constrain these two faces. So I come up here to the constrain tab. I can select this face, and I can't get to this other face. So you can go up here to the model cube and move it around. I want these two things to mate. If you hover over where it's supposed to be and just give it a few seconds, it's going to say this face that I'm normal to, and now you can bring this tool and select this one, and it brings up the hidden face. And you can kind of see the arrow is kind of hidden, but that's the face that I want. So it connects those two things together. I'm going to apply that constraint. My next constraint is I want this face and this face. I don't want them mated together, I want them to be flush. I'm going to apply that constraint. And then my third constraint is I want this plane and this plane not to be flush, but to be offset by about 1.5 inches. So this one just dropped down a little bit. I'm going to apply that constraint. Okay, so now I've got my steering plate on there. On the steering plate, there's one of my brackets. It's actually, I think it was bracket number 3. Okay, so this is a little guy. And let's rotate this around the y-axis. Do it a couple times so that the hole is facing away. So I'm going to place this close by, and then right click to say OK. So this is the one that I want. Sorry about that. So I'm going to come up here to constrain again. And I want this face, and I can't see that back face, but if I just hover over it, it'll bring up a little menu, and now I can select I want the normal face on the back side, so I'll select that one. So that's on there. So I actually need to see the back side of this, and I can do the trick where I hover over it, and it brings up a menu, but sometimes it's easier just to go ahead and rotate the cube around. I want the back side, so we'll just look at the back side. And actually, it helps to see that corner there. So now I'm still in the constraint. I have to apply that other one. So now I want this face and that face. I want them to be flush to each other. Apply that constraint. And now I'll grab this top corner. And this is a certain height down from here. So we'll say that this and this. It's got the flush constraint, which is a good start, but then we'll drop this down another 1.5. Oh, and this is great. I put in a positive 1.5, and it's going up away from it. So once I see that it kind of previews that, I'll just put a negative sign in there, and now it drops it down 1 inch, and I can hit apply. So now that little bracket, number 3, is fully constrained. Come back up here, get us to our original view. We've got a bracket that comes on down here. So we're going to place that. That was bracket number 1, that kind of angle piece. And that's already in the correct orientation. So we'll place that. And I need to mate this surface in the back of that. So I'm going to constrain this to the back side of this. So I just give it a second to pop up on with the normal face. I'm going to come around to this edge. I'm going to apply that constraint. Come around to that edge so I can see that. I want this lined up with that face. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I want this face and this face to be flush. Okay. Apply that constraint. And then now we need to have this top a certain distance from here. So I want this face and that face. I want this offset to be maybe about 4 inches. And once again, I want the different direction that I wanted to. So I'll just come in here and put a negative sign. So it drops it down. And actually, I think it looked a little bit farther down. So maybe we'll go negative 5 inches. So now that bracket's on there. And the last one, come back to my home view. There's a little tab that goes on the bottom here with our bolt hole in here. So I think for me that was bracket 2. And once again I've got the bolt hole closest to the assembly. I want it far away, so I want to rotate this around the y-axis a couple times. So now the bolt hole is facing away. So I'll place this down here close to where I want it. Right click. And let's go all the way to the bottom of the cube. So I'm going to constrain this face. I'm going to zoom in. I want those to be flush with each other. Apply that constraint. I'm going to cancel out of this. I'm going to move this a little bit farther away. I'm going to constrain this side. I'm waiting for the back side to show up with that one. I'm not sure where this is welded on. I don't know if it's flush with this edge or over here. Though this last constraint, I'll pick this side. And it, even though this is the fillet right here, oh, that's the other face. I can't select this fillet as a square edge anymore. So what I can do, since I don't have a face to make that to, you can constrain lines. I like to do faces more than lines, but I can take this line and this line and make those two things together and apply that constraint. So now this piece should be fully locked in. If I grab this and try to move it, it won't move anywhere. It's fully constrained. So we'll go back to our view cube. Come back to the home menu. And this was a lot prettier without those little brackets on here. But this is our complete wheel mount assembly. So the next tutorial we'll talk about how to do the drawing and the list of materials.